Hello and welcome to the Radio 690 ADV. Thank you for stopping in. Happy Sunday. I'm actually pretty much in a good mood today. Kind of going to be a little chatty today, so sit back, relax, get yourself a cup of coffee if you're going to be listening to this in the morning or whatever day it is. I've got myself a nice giant cup of coffee. I'm in the Deep Blue Studios at our office. I love this place. It's fantastic. We've got all the new stuff. Thank you to all of our sponsors because you have helped create this, and it is absolutely amazing. All of our Patreon sponsors, thank you so very much. Get a sip of this delicious coffee. Anyway, on today's podcast, it's going to be just a little bit different. I'm going to kind of mix it up a little bit on these podcasts coming up, and you can tell me what you think. If you hate it, like it, or whatever, you can put it in the comments. You can also email me at 690adv@gmail.com anytime you like. I love the emails. Been getting a bunch of them lately from new writers and just questions and KTM stuff. Not only KTM stuff, but other stuff as well. It's really cool to talk to and converse with the motorcycle community. It's super, super awesome. I really think it's cool. We did, and we were going to have a guest last weekend. We're still working on it. I'm going to do a phone in because our new system allows us to do phone calls. So I'm going to kind of let this out of the bag a little bit. We are going to, with riders and stuff, I'm going to try to connect with other riders and kind of, just see what it's all about with them. Maybe we can make some phone calls to some of you guys and put you on the air and do some recording and stuff like that and kind of see what your world's like and put that out there for other people because it's really cool for other riders to hear other riders. It's fantastic because they really it puts everything into perspective, and then we can ask questions about the type of gear that you got. Where do you live? Where do you like to go? What's your favorite tire? What's your favorite motor oil? What do you do on the weekends? Things like that, and that's really what we're trying to do. And with all of our sponsorship, don't forget, if you'd like to be a sponsor, patreon.com/690adv. We sure could use the help because we're always trying to upgrade and get new stuff to make our stuff sound better, look better, and just all around be better. But that's our thing, is we really are trying to make sure that we're making everybody a part of it, because the 690 ADV, I've said it a million times, it's not one person. It is a whole community, and that's what we're building. And we have a lot of people that are part of this, and it's so fantastic, and I love it. So enough jibber jabber about that. Today's podcast is kind of funny. I never really thought about it so much, except for when I was writing to a job site the other day with a super long time buddy of mine, and he works with me. He's super awesome. You should check his stuff out. He has a podcast. It's called the Jet Stream of Consciousness. It's a weather podcast. He's a weather nut. He's kind of a weirdo when it comes to that stuff, but he's a storm chaser, and I get a lot of really good stuff. I've learned so much weather stuff from him, from just hearing him talk to all of his storm geeks and all that stuff that are out there. And that's why I do some weather stuff, and I want to start doing some more, and I'm trying to make him be part of it if I can. He's not real huge on being on other people's stuff. He doesn't really see how motorcycles and his severe weather kind of goes hand in hand a little bit. But anyway, we were writing to do a job the other day, and it was really it was funny because it took me a little bit to put two and two together to realize that it's not just him. Anyway, his name is Shane Adams, and he's a storm chaser, a severe storm chaser. He chases tornadoes. He does all that type of stuff. So he drives all over the place to see that stuff. So Jet Stream of Consciousness is the name of his podcast. If you want to listen to some of his stuff, he's got some crazy stuff that he talks about. And he's also got a YouTube. I think it's Passion Twisted on YouTube. So if you want to check out some of his video stuff, he's got like tornadoes and stuff. But anyway, writing last week, I realized that people these days with all of our technology and all that stuff, and I don't care what you say or anyone else says. I can tell you 100% because even I'm guilty for it. But it's hilarious. People yell at their phones. They talk to it like you can hear them, and it's a living thing, like it's another person, and it's gonna do what you want it to do whenever you're doing stuff. And this happens on motorcycles. So this is related to what I'm talking about, because I've seen my buddies out riding around when we're doing stuff and they're trying to swipe. Like they'll be wearing a glove that doesn't have the magnetic tip on it, and they'll try to swipe and they're yelling at it like, swipe, open, and they're just screaming at their phone. And I'm like, dude, that glove's it's never going to work, man. Why are you yelling at phones? It's not going to open. It's not going to swipe to the side. It's not going to open an app. It's not going to do that. But I've noticed that people, do you have those guys that yell at their equipment? It can even be a laptop. It's like they're talking to their phone or their tablet or their laptop or their desktop. And I'm sorry, but it cracks me up. It just cracks me up because I'm sitting there and it's like I get my own free show listening to these words that come out, and some of them are quite colorful, to be quite honest with you. They are they're they're quite they're rainbow colors. You know what I'm saying? They are, I mean, they're all across the board. It's all the way from crap to, man, you already know it. So, but it's so funny because I'd never really kind of put that together, that there are that many people that do it, and I'm guilty. So I'm not sitting there trying to make it out like, oh, I'm just this perfect person. I am so far from perfect, or anything is not even funny. I'm just good at a lot of things, and I'm not even perfect at things. I'm just good at them. But one second, I can smell that coffee, and I just want to drink it. But anyway, back to the subject. It's hilarious because they're trying to do something, whether it be make a Facebook post. That's usually the biggest one, Facebook post, or trying to post to Instagram or something like that. They're trying to type, or they'll fat finger something like the keyboard's going to change its size or something like that because they can't type correctly because they're trying to type like they're on a big keyboard, and it doesn't work. It just doesn't work. Or they'll fat finger it and they'll create a word. Or the best one of all, and I'm sure you've already thought of it before you even got to it. It just came to me right now, and this is like the number one: predictive text. Predictive text. Have you not gotten a text from somebody where they're like, sorry, man, where they tried to type something and it created a completely word that you did not want it to do, and you send it out to a buddy or your wife or a girlfriend, and you're just sitting there going, that is not what I wanted to say. And it makes you look like a freaking jackass. Every once in a while it will. I've actually had it happen to me to business customers where I'm trying to send them a text, try to get something across the board to try to get some business done, and it creates some crazy whacked out thing, and they just think I'm bat crazy. Or they'll send it back to me and say, hey, you know what? I know what you're talking about, but that's the wrong word. So anyway, do you have a buddy that that yells at his phone? Or do you yell at your phone? If you can, down in the comments, just brief, put a little bit down there, because it would be interesting. Or email me, because I would like to know if it's just me, or maybe you're listening to this the first time and you're just now starting to pick up on it and realize it, because it's just everyday life for you, and now you realize that people are yelling at their phones like their phones are going to change because they're yelling at it like it's going to open or it's going to type better or any of that type of stuff. It's just to let you know, it's never going to happen. So I thought that was funny. I wanted to get that off my chest. I wanted to talk about it because it just cracks me up, because it's I have a different background in business. I own a sign and graphics company here in Dallas-Fort Worth, in Keller, Texas, which is beautiful today. Yesterday was a freaking soaker. I mean, we got so much rain we were flooded out. But my original background is, and I try not to put it out there too much to people, is computers. I'm 50 years old, so I've been around the block a couple of times, and it's computer engineering, and I don't do it anymore because there's just really not any money in it unless you actually are the owner of it, and I don't have time to go down that road. But it. Anyway, all right, we're getting off topic. Let's get back on and talk about the other thing. But anyway, don't forget, you can get us on all platforms. Our new hosting is now on Podbean, which you can, if you have the Podbean app, you can download that and you can comment on there. So if you want to put some comment stuff, and if you're listening on YouTube, don't forget, you can comment there too. So please leave as many comments as you can for other riders and stuff, because people do read those comments, and it's kind of fun buzz just to whatever. And don't forget, check out the Facebook page. I'm part of it. It's not my deal. It's a buddy of mine. It's actually buddies of mine, and Dual Sport Global. Check that out on Facebook and go ahead and sign up and be part of it, because it's really a pretty neat thing. And it's just good fun stuff. It's no people just, trying to, or at least we're trying to make it to where it's not all about yourself. It's about helping others and posting really neat stuff, your bike trips, things like that. Maybe some new gear that you got that you think's fantastic. You can put that on there and maybe help somebody out, because that's really what it's all about. It's about giving things that you actually know and presenting it out to others to help others out, which is really what this is all about. But boy, it's so blown out of proportion today. It's not even funny because everybody is an expert. But on today's topic is going to be GPS. GPS units. I have one. I have buddies that have them. I have buddies that don't have them. Do you have them? Do you not have them? If you have it, why did you get it? Now, I know a lot of people are going to go, well, you know what, Joe, you're stupid. You should already know why I have a GPS. I understand why you have a GPS. What I'm saying is what made you go and actually get that specific GPS or that unit for your motorcycle trips, adventures, whatever it is that you got it for. So that's basically what I meant. I know what a GPS is for, and I know what it stands for. So but I want to make sure that we get it out there, because as much as it's, not known, the 690 ADV really does do a lot, and a lot of the guys that are subscribers and are part of it really do help a lot of people, because the reason I say get down there and comment is there's a lot of new riders that are out there. You'd be freaked out at how many emails I get and how much stuff I get from guys that are just coming into it, looking for new bikes, looking for gear. They don't know what to get, and they're afraid to ask, as they are afraid that they're going to make themselves feel stupid, or they're going to make themselves look dumb, or they're going to this, or they're going to that. And the thing is it's a sad world that we live in, that people have to sit there and feel like they're going to make themselves, they're going to sell themselves short before they ever get started. And then they're not going to be able to get the information that they need. So that's why it's such a big deal to me that whenever I see people that are kind of douchey, I'm going to call you out. I don't care if we're on the trail. I don't care if we're out in public. It doesn't matter to me. Everybody, is amazingly smart and crazy tough behind a computer and in a text. So, the world's life is just too short. So we really need to just kind of just stop with all this stuff and just, the reality is just be fun and be real and grow up, just grow up. That's the big thing. But I get lots of emails on just gear, bikes, all that type of stuff. And I do my best, and sometimes I have to wait before I respond, because I don't know everything. That's why I lean on people. I got lots of guys that ride that are super cool, that are all over the country, and I may text them or I may email them. I mean, it just all depends on what the subject is. So, but that's really the thing. on what to get. So that's why when we do these podcasts and stuff, and these podcasts are going to be 20 minutes, maybe 30 minutes, they're made to sit and listen. They're not a click on, click off. And if it is, well, then, your life's pretty short and it's sad. I love listening to podcasts, man. I listen to Dirt Bike Channel. That guy, he's awesome, man. He does really cool stuff and he helps a lot of people and he gets it. He gets it. He totally gets it. So the gear, GPS, why did you buy the GPS that you bought? And do you really like it? Or is it just, you bought it and it's all you got. So you're stuck with it. You're just stuck with it, Or is it that you got it and you're just one of those guys that I don't need anything more than this. This is everything I need. I don't need anything else. I get it because I've got some stuff that people look at and go, dude, that's like really super ancient. And it's like, yeah, it's super ancient. And you know what else? It still works. And I love it. So GPS units, there are quite a few of them out there. So if you're looking for a GPS unit or you're thinking about a GPS unit, here are some of them. And I'm not going to sit there and put one on a pedestal and say, this is the best one. Now, I know if there's anybody listening or if there's anybody out there and they even make it this far into this podcast, they're going to tell you, this is the best unit, period, hands down, move on down the road. You're wasting your time, yada, 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 yada. Here's the deal. I'm not that guy. I'm never going to be that guy. I'm going to give you something that I know actually works. I've been around a lot of units. I've owned about 6 of them. But here's the deal. At the end of the day, they all work. They all work. It's called a global positioning satellite. And it pulls down the actual coordinates for where you're located. That's all it does. And then it has an overlay map on top of it. So biff, bam, boom, the mystery, it's over. But they all work. If you're completely lost, you don't even need a screen other than an arrow pointing north, east, south, and west. Because depending on where you're at, that will help you get yourself out of a pickle. That's all it is. That's all it really is it'll point you in the right direction and it can get you back to basically civilization and safety. GPS systems. Which one's the best one? I don't think there is a best one. I'll be honest with you. And you can sit there and I'll go to the mat with you. I just don't think that Garmin's better than Trailtech and TomTom's better than Magellan. And the knockoffs they should be just knockoffs and they should never be made. Well, we're going to get into this real quick. And we're not going to spend tons and tons of time going over it. And I'm not going to get into you didn't get into details and you didn't talk about all the topos and you didn't talk about all the extra stuff that it has, like satellite texting. That's not what this is about. This is just talking about GPSs and which ones are pretty good and really what maybe you should think about getting if you're going to adventure ride and you're going to get out in it. And when I mean get out in it, it's when you go out and you're on an adventure, not when you're like 2 miles off the beaten path, you're on a main road and then you turn off a dirt road for 2 miles and then you go camping. You don't really need a GPS for that. You don't. But when you go 50 miles off the beaten path and if you draw a circle around your dot where you're located and there is nobody to be found in that 50-mile circle, you might want a GPS. I'm just saying. Just because if something happens, bike doesn't start, any of that stuff, and you've got to try to get yourself out of there. Sometimes you go down on some of these paths that you go down, they go from road to single track to just a trail to, before you know it, when you go 50 miles, it all looks the same. It looks the same. So, and there could be like 10 roads that you pass and you don't know which road is the right road, and whatever. So GPSs, that's where they really, really shine, is they can help get yourself out of a situation that if you didn't have a GPS, well, hopefully you got a compass. That's going to help some too, because we all know that if we go east or west or north or south, we're going to run into something. But the thing is knowing where you're located and where you're at on your adventure really helps you dictate which direction you're going to go. If I'm out west and I know I'm somewhere between, say, Four Corners, Just to let you know, that's basically Colorado, New Mexico, Utah, and Arizona. It's right there at the corner. They call it Four Corners. If you've never been there, you can actually go stand on the corner of it. You can step in all states. Anyway, long story short, if I'm in that area and I'm off the beaten path, say somewhere up into the, let's just say the southwestern portion of Colorado, and I get in a situation where I'm lost, a GPS is really going to help me out, because I know that if I'm going to go west, it's going to be a while before I find anything. And I mean anything. But if I know that I'm going exactly east or east-northeast, I know that I'm going to run into some stuff. You've got Cortez over there. I'm not going to go into detail, but I'm just telling you, I just know that I can pick a shorter distance to find civilization. Sorry, I had to get some coffee. Anyway, so GPSs, the top brands, the top ones that are out there, at least in my opinion. This is an opinion, so take it with whatever you want to take it with. Garmin, Trailtech, Magellan, TomTom, and then you got the knockoffs. and so forth. And I know what everybody's sitting there thinking. Well, you forgot one. You definitely forgot one. You forgot my iPhone. You forgot my Android or my Samsung or blah, blah, blah. I get it. I got guys that use phones all the time. They use it as their GPS. I think they're really good. Problem is if you're not getting a GPS app that uses offline maps, they'll work. Don't get me wrong. They'll work. But don't plan on going off the beaten path, because once you lose signal, it's all over with. Have a great day. So probably the number one for me, I think, is the most, I'm not saying it's the best. Okay, none of these are the best, all right? Understand that. None of these are the best. I think the most commonly talked about, or the one that's the most that gets hit up when people start thinking of, we're dual sport guys, so we're adventure guys. So we're thinking ones that have, like, you can get topo maps, where you can get elevations and all that stuff, and you can find out where you're going in and all that type of stuff. Garmin. I think Garmin is probably the number one thought of. Here's the deal with Garmin, and I have a Garmin. I've got a Garmin Zumo, all right? It's the 660. It's got, lifetime maps. I've had it for years, and I know, but it's outdated. Not to me. It's not to me. It works perfect. It's literally, I went on a trip with the guys out there, East Texas ADV and all those guys, and we got in the middle of nowhere in Arkansas, and everybody's on their phone. Everybody's on their phone trying to find a way out. We came to a three-way fork in the road, and they all were going to take us somewhere in the middle of nowhere, and nobody knew where to go. We sat there for 15 minutes. I got tired of waiting. I pulled out my Zumo. Within 3 minutes, that's our road. You sure? That's our road. And sure enough, that was our road. So I'm just saying, cell phones are great, but at the end of the day, my Zumo has never stranded me. Is it the best? It sure is not. Is it really good? I like to think so. I think it's a really, really good system. I think it works fantastic. It has Bluetooth. I can put my music. It has SD card input. I can send it up to my helmet so I can jam out while I'm riding. It does turn-by-turn navigation. It keeps track of my fuel on my KTM. And the list goes on and on and on. This is not a review on the Zumo. Then you have InReach, Overlander, the other handheld units. There's so many of them out there, but Garmin is probably one of the most talked about, or the most common ones that you will see out in the field when you're out basically adventure riding. A new player to the game, and the reason I say that is because they haven't been around as long as the other ones. Trailtech. Now, I've heard good, I've heard fantastic, and I've heard garbage. It's kind of one of those things you just have to kind of, that's what I'm looking for. Take it with a grain of salt. I think the systems are cool looking. That Voyager system, I think, is fantastic. It does all sorts of stuff. It's got all beeps and whistles. It's got really, really neat stuff. They're not real cheap. Neither are the Garmins. So keep that in mind. But in all reality, the Trail Tech systems, I think overall, as long as it powers on, I think you're in business. My personal opinion. I just don't believe that there's a bad GPS. Now, I do believe that there are GPSs that just don't have all the crazy features like the other ones, and that's where we are so lost today, is that we need all these bells and whistles. But the Trail Tech's got the bells and whistles. Magellan. Most people don't think of Magellan as a dual sporters or an adventure riders deal. Well, they've been kind of working on stuff and stepping their stuff up. They have the Explorist. It's kind of a newer system. It's made for off-road stuff, which is really, really cool. And the other thing is you just got to look at it. Dual sport is really, in the United States, is nil. It's really big basically overseas. So they don't make it for dual sport guys. Most of this stuff is actually made for Jeeps and off-road, four-wheel drive guys and stuff like that. The guys that get out in the desert and do all that stuff. So, but Magellan, I don't know much about that Explorus, and I'm not really a Magellan guy, but they're priced right. They're like $200 and something bucks. That's not crazy for a GPS. It looks like it's got a lot of the mapping and stuff, because my Zumo's $600, but I've also had it for 4 or 5 years. I love it. It's fantastic, but Magellan looks pretty cool. I don't know how rugged it is. I don't know how well handle up off-road with the vibrations and stuff like that. My Zumo is on a shock mount, which is really fantastic. Everybody that sees it thinks it's really cool. It is just fantastic. It is like second to none. I love it. And then the last, not really last, but least, is TomTom, that Rider series. I don't know much about it. I almost bought one. I was real close just to try it out. I kind of like it, but TomTom is just, to me, not, it's what I'm looking for. I think for the road, they're banging. It's the off-road is where I'm not real sure, but they say that Rider kind of has the off-road setup. My thing is it's all about the mapping. I think Garmin maps are really probably the best. That's just my opinion. I'm not saying they're the greatest, but I'm just saying they're pretty good. They're pretty good. And if you get a lifetime mapping with them, you're always being able to update their maps. They're always adding more, especially here to the United States. And they're picking up a lot more of these back roads, which is really, really nice. So as far as TomTom goes, I don't know. And I don't know. And if you own a TomTom, man, comment and let other people know. But the TomToms, I like the unit. I think it's cool. I think it's got the look. It's going to work. At the end of the day, everything on here is going to work. It's going to work. It's going to help. It's going to be better to have than not have. So as far as TomTom goes, I don't know, and I don't want to sit there and mislead somebody on that. But these are the ones that are really kind of the most common for motorcycles. So I'm putting it out there for new riders, mainly for new riders, or guys that don't have a GPS and they're just thinking about getting a GPS. Then you got the knockoff brands. And you'll have guys that will sit there, hammer, bash, slash, bury. They're knockoff for a reason. Man, you know what? Some of those knockoffs are actually kind of cool. They got some pretty neat features. They run Android on the back end, which is the same stuff that runs most everybody's phones. And they run their mapping with that. Some of them are kind of neat. I don't know, and I'm not going to sit there and say they're garbage, but I'm also not going to say they're great. I'm just going to say anything's better than nothing. And I don't care what anyone says. Your phone, it'll work. I don't think they're great. I literally had, and it happened just on the last 2-day trip that I did up in Arkansas on the K Trail and all that stuff with those guys. Nobody could find anything on their phones, but the Zumo got us out in minutes. And That's what I'm getting at is I think the phones are fine to a point. I would never go out west or in the big area and just use my phone. I wouldn't use it. If I'm on highway riding, I'd say phone. You know what? Yeah, I think it's going to be just fine. But when you're out in it and you're in the thick, I'm good. I mean, I'm going to have my phone, but I'm not using it. I'm not going to trust it. I am not going to trust it. You know, my Garmin Zumo is hardwired into my bike, so that battery is charged at all times, and I can literally shut everything off of it and just use it as a GPS, and I can get days out of it. So I'm gonna stick to my Garmin. So basically, there's probably about 20 or 30 units between Garmin, Trailtech, Magellan, TomTom, knockoff brands. God, there's so many of them. And we come down to basically, well, which one's the best? Which one would 690 ADV Joe recommend and this and that? Well, here's the deal. First, let's get down to what is the best GPS that's out there. Which is the best GPS? If I had to sit there and say, this is the best GPS, well, here's my pick. The best GPS that you can get is one that's going to fit your budget. I'm not picking one. I'm not doing it. I'm not that guy. I don't roll like that. Whatever can fit your budget. If you've only got $250 to buy a GPS unit, there are a lot of units that you can get in, you know, and they're all going to do just fine. You know, that Magellan Explorers, it looks very interesting. I'll be quite honest with you. But my thing is I'm not picking one. You know, if money's no object, then, you know, go get that new Garmin Overlander. That thing looks sweet, but it's $600. I'm not going to go dump $600 again on a GPS, especially when mine works and it does everything I need it to do. Most guys are going to sit back and say, yeah, you stick to your garbage. I'm going to use my phone. Well, kudos to you. Here's the deal. It'll work. It will work. To a point. You may just have to sit somewhere for a little while to basically get the sat signal and all that stuff to get you out of whatever you're in. But it will work. It will work. I'm not going to bash it. I'm just telling you it's better to have the actual units. I don't care what anyone says. GPS units are better than phones. Period. And this coffee is amazing. So, on to GPSs. Lots of them out there, but those are the ones that really, you know, are probably your best bets. Garmin, Trailtech, Magellan, TomTom, and then the knockoffs. And if it was me, if I had to rank them one all the way down, I'm not saying they're better than others, but the way that I just presented them, I would say number one, look into the Garmin systems, just because they're proven. They've been around a really, really long time, and their maps are fantastic. Then probably Trailtech, then Magellan, then TomTom, and then maybe a knockoff. I've got them listed the way that that I would do it, just because I just know that those systems are they're built very well. But you're going to pay for it, so make sure that you got your wallet ready, because you're going to pay for that stuff. So anyway, today, guys that yell at their phone and GPS units, that's what we're talking about today on the Radio 690 ADV. And down in the comments, put anything that you want to put down there. Don't forget 690adv@gmail.com. Don't forget our YouTube channel, youtube.com/690adv. And 690adv.com is our website. Go sign up. And if you want to be a sponsor, please jump on board. It helps us out, and I cannot tell you how much it helps us out. Get out. It's beautiful, at least here in Dallas-Fort Worth today. In sunny Keller, it's nice, man. It's about 75 degrees. It's sunny, light to mild winds. It's fantastic. We're going to have a whole week of great weather, guys, that's coming our way that we're going to be able to get out and get some riding in. So, hey, stay safe. Keep your social distancing or whatever it is that you're doing. Make sure that you get out and ride your bike and get a little adventure time in. And be happy, man, because life's short. You're going to be kicked off this planet before you know it. I'm Joe, Radio 690 ADV. Have a fantastic Sunday. 690 out.